Hey, what's going on, guys? Garrett with Executive Training Group, and today we are talking about stock placement. Now, I know this is something that has been kind of all over the internet recently, and I think it's a really good subject. And the reason I do is because it's recently developed for me and changed for me.
Alrighty, bill drill was about 25 yards, 1.79, 6 rounds, 0.83 on the first shot, looking at 0.21, 18, 18, 20, 19 splits. So all the splits were in like 0.2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one's barely in, almost a Charlie, but yeah, all 6 alpha. So this time, same drill again. I'm gonna try to prioritize kind of heads up shooting. That was 1.78. After the first couple rounds, I definitely felt, and saw my sight walk off to the right, and then I did overcorrect it probably. Yeah, 0.8 again on the first round, 0.23, 19, 18, 19, 19. So almost the same speed. Got 2 Charlies here. These were probably my first shots. And then I saw the reticle start to walk out over here. So I probably dumped those 3rd and 4th rounds, overcorrected down in here. So I would say not as effective. Oh my God, you just triggered the internet. All right, 6 rounds, 165, 165. Guys, I can't count, so I'm trying to focus and isolate buttstock positioning and all that stuff. So like, I know I loaded to 6 rounds. I have a problem counting. I'll admit it, I suck at counting. Said that before. Okay, time, 165, 6.9 first shot. 2-1 split, 2-0, 1-7, 2-0, 1-8. I kept all my splits below 0.21, which is the objective. Oh my God, I've gotten a lot better at this. I want to just tell you guys, when I first started doing this drill, it did not look like this. It was horrible. It was like Charlies and Deltas and all that stuff because I had never tried to push my splits at 25 meters. I used to think rifle recoil management didn't matter because it was so easy. I'm telling you, go try this drill, see how, force yourself to split the gun almost as fast as you can back there. Me and Ryan did this a little bit. Everyone I've done this with, it doesn't take long, but they're like, whoa, I have a lot to learn. With that being said, I'm gonna pace this up and then I'm gonna try it. I'm actually gonna give it 100% of my effort with just a little bit of the toe and the stock. The benefit of that is kind of a more relaxed posture, right? You can kind of have your head up, and in USPSA, when I'm shooting competition, that's how I like to shoot a handgun. But I wanna see if I can do this same thing while having that heads up posture. I think they'll all be on paper, but the reticle was definitely dancing more. 172 time. First shot, 8.3. Second shot, 102. So it was a 19 split, 18 split, 17 split, 18 split, 17. So we maintained all of the splits that we wanted. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I got them all on paper. So, but as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 Charlies, 1 Delta, and probably my first shot.
The purpose of this entire video, just to lay this out for people, this is not to encourage the drama or to talk about he said versus she said, all that stuff. No, I don't care about that. What I care about doing is for folks that might be watching these videos and seeing a gentleman like this that's on the screen. This is DJ from GBRS group demonstrating a ready up kind of position from a YouTube video they did. They might see somebody like this with a really, really heavy background like he has, and sort of be kind of, wondering, well, do I listen to this person or do I listen to the skinny white kid shooting on his range who's getting hits on paper and demonstrating but doesn't have the background and the credentials? And I kind of want to help give credit where credit's due. Not, again, I say this every single time. Obviously, Lucas is a friend, so this is always going to be a little bit biased, but I also have a lot of respect for the military and people that have done that job, especially in the special operations community, and Green Team and DevGru is not a joke. It's very difficult to get to, but so I kind of wanted to share that, obviously, and talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about to kind of break this down before we get into watching any videos, and I'll try and do this quickly, but is the way that I view tactics versus shooting, okay? And I don't really see the shooting world as, competition shooters versus tactical shooters. Those are just different goals with which to use a skill set, okay? So shooting is a skill set, and whether you call yourself a person whose mindset is, real world application, meaning self-defense, the military, law enforcement, use of firearms, so use of force, or whether you're, maybe a hybrid like myself where you enjoy pushing yourself in the performance world of shooting and seeing how fast and how accurate you can be, and developing, that skill set. Or you're just purely a performance shooter. You don't carry a gun, you don't care about, all you care about is shooting holes in paper targets, okay? No matter what, we're all utilizing the same skill set, okay? It's just the application of how we want to do it differently. So the first thing is a definition of the term tactics. That's what I want to talk about because I want to help separate the two of these. And I think this is a kind of a trap that we fall into in the industry a lot. And, I've been thinking about it and I think this helps. So yesterday I posted on our Instagram and I just basically said, what is the definition of tactics? What I put down, and I think this is fairly decent, maybe some room for improvement, but tactics, an individual or team selecting the best actions, skills to be applied at the best estimated time, while considering the environment they are in, the objective they want to complete, and the situation they are in. Okay, so I've said it before, a good tactic in the wrong situation, environment, or objective is in danger of being a bad tactic. So I think that kind of sums up what tactics are. It isn't, there's not like a certain way you shoot, it's just utilizing that skill set, all right? Now, to flip the coin and talk about the performance side of the world and how shooting is a skill set, sometimes we get lost in being too good at shooting, okay? And that is very much so a legitimate thing where we can talk about expecting too much of people, right? When we look at somebody who's, let's take the average infantryman, right? I will be the first to say I think the bar is set far too low for shooting standards. But regardless, the average infantryman needs to know a lot more than just how to shoot his rifle, right? He's got to understand all sorts of different things between communications, medical, fitness, how to draw range cards, all the certain things that we do in the field, different skill sets, when to apply them, when not to apply them, right? So there's tons of different skill sets that the infantryman has to learn besides just shooting, right? And that's gonna be the same for SF dudes, that's gonna be the same for green. This has been said a million times, right? I will still make the argument that land nav is a skill, it's not a tactic. I will make the argument that drawing a range card is a skill, not a tactic, right? So the ability to do these things well, those are skills. Now, the ability of when to apply said things and how to apply them is going to fall under tactics, all right? So when we separate or we differentiate the two of those, we can start to look at skill sets purely for being skill sets, the ability to do something well, and then how to apply them and any exceptions we might make.
I think I mic'd the first shot. Honestly, because I'm not used to shooting like this. So 0.78 on the first shot, 0.19. All right guys, so we're working ready up drills. We're about 3-ish yards away and I am going to do 2 to the head of this target. One of the arguments about the benefit of having just the toe of the stock in your shoulder is that it makes it easier to snap the gun up and start shooting. But if for some reason I don't have good position, I'm gonna start leaning in and get to a better position to shoot from, right? We're always trying to improve our position. So what we wanna see is we wanna hear those arguments out. So I'm gonna do basically just ready up where I do up and 2, up and 2. I'll do it 2 times in a row and we'll look at the hits. Good, that's a 6.6. On the line, but good. Again, this was my first shot. There's my second shot, right? First shot, second shot. Let's do it one more time just to prove we can do it consistently. That was a 6.6, a 6.6. All right, same thing, but 7.0. I overdrove a little bit, but still right on the line. These are the ones, my first shots as I'm dragging up, right? So I'm shooting right into where I'm looking. So now what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna eliminate that shoulder movement forward, and we're just gonna put the toe of the stock, lift, and fire 2 rounds from here and see if it really is faster. I went over the head. That wasn't even intentional. I have one that I hit and one that went high. So one here and one went up here. And I wanna give it another fair shake because that was not intentional. This was from before. I had this one and one that went like way up here. And that might look like I'm trying to prove a point. I'm literally not. There's a reason why that's happening. I'll explain it. Let me try and do a clean one for you guys. Toe of the stock. That was a 5.9, by the way. All right. Yeah, over the top again. Unless that's a double, but I can't tell. 6.0. Why I don't think there's a difference in pace or in time is because there's a couple things that have to happen when I'm making a decision. Our brains take roughly, I don't know, 0.2 of a second to make a decision, okay? So if I'm rolling through a structure, nice and relaxed in this position, because I don't want to be just sitting here stressing my shoulder out for no reason and using up muscle. And I come around a corner and I come in and I see something, right? I'm gonna have to start lifting that gun is probably the first thing that's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, and I'm gonna lift that gun, okay? So the gun has to travel from here to here, no matter what. Without my shoulder, whatever, whether I choose a toe position there, I'm gonna have to lift the gun to here. In the same amount of time that I'm lifting that gun, I can also be doing other things. A couple of those other things are flipping the safety off, starting to touch my trigger, and rolling my shoulder forward so I get into a really good recoil control position. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think you're gonna see a whole world of difference when you're shooting this different between, we're gonna do a build drill here in a second, but I don't think you'll see a whole world of difference between doing this at really close ranges versus like leaning in, unless you're holding yourself to a really high accuracy standard. You know, if you're doing build drills on the like main chest of a target, you're not gonna notice if your group spreads out to about this big versus being like this. You're just not gonna notice it. Where you will notice it is where you start pushing it back and realizing you're not doing a very good job of controlling recoil, right? That's where you're gonna see a big difference. So the last thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna do a build drill on the head of the target to try and say, you know, yeah, we could keep it in the head, no problem, or in the chest, no problem with a toe stock like this, but can we do it in the head? Are we able to maintain headshots from like 3 yards away while quickly shooting? All right, a little bit low, that's height over bore, but it's not too bad. It's, you know, they're all there. 153 total time. This guy's a little bit low. You know, again, that was my point of aim was here. I should have been thinking height over bore. Time, 6.5 first shot. So my ready up to the head was a 6.5. Then I had an 8.4, so my first 2 shots were 8.4, 1.9 split, 1.6 split, 1.7 split, and then for the total time of 1.53. Okay. 169. They're pretty much all there, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, yeah, you can clearly see the rifle climbing. Like, I hate to say it, but the reason you see this string doing this is because I started here and the rifle just came up, is what it is. Oh, it's a little gassy. That was a 1.54. I was a little bit slow off of the ready position at a 0.63 first shot. My splits, 2, 18, 17, 19, 17. Doing actually about the same splits I was doing at the 25, interestingly enough. The grouping's a lot better. Erase it a little bit. Yeah, the recoil control definitely sucked on that. I mean, it's bouncing all over. That one was already there, that one was mine, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I threw one somewhere. It's a lot more difficult. I mean, I feel like I'm almost wrestling with this thing, because up here, it's bouncing around like this. I can't get like the fat of my cheek in it, and then obviously it's just less contact with the shoulder. I mean, it's just that simple. Yeah, this feels just infinitely better, and I don't think it's any slower. Let's see what my time was. That might be important. So it was a 144 total. 148, it was actually faster to get up, so maybe there's something to that. 0.2, 0.19, 0.18, so about the same split speed. And was that overall slower or faster than the last round? I'd have to check. However, I think the first shot was... Okay guys, so we got done running some, I don't know, just very small experiments or drills. One of the things that happens is the internet tends to freak out about stuff like this, which is, honestly, I think it's more of a good thing than it is a bad thing, because it makes us think, it gives us new ideas. Yes, there's folks that are gonna wanna hurl insults at each other, and I'm this and I'm that. I don't really care about it. I'm a nerd when it comes to shooting performance and seeing what's possible and what's capable, and then how that applies to people that do this for a living or do this as a job. So, you know, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's military, or it's armed civilians, I want to make them better at whatever they're doing. That's the role, in my opinion, of a performance shooter, is it's making people, seeing what's capable, what you're able to do, you know, what's humanly possible in setting a bar. So the whole debate, we're just gonna kind of go over it. I don't do this whole like speaking cryptically thing, so I'm just going to be straight up and honest. Lucas made a post talking about stock placement. He called out some CQB instructors. We kind of all know probably the GBRS groups, some people that you're seeing going through structures and doing this type of thing. Now, I want to make this extremely clear. You can find videos of me doing this position. I just treat it as a ready position. I think this is one of the like contextual things that was completely missed in the post was the fact that we weren't talking about CQB. We were literally talking about a shooting position, okay? So it's kind of like making the argument, should you shoot from cover or, you know, outside of cover? Like, duh. So the argument was basically some people are showing toe of the stock, you know, the rifle being up and that this is a good shooting position. But the difficulty is everyone I've seen showing that position, I have never seen them do a drill that adequately shows recoil control, right? You'll see a lot of just like snapping up, maybe shooting 1 or 2 rounds, but you won't see them shooting at something small, far away, or all these other things, right? Maybe it never crossed their mind. I'm not sitting here to say it was malintent or whatever, but we just kind of wanted to test this out a little bit, right? So my findings, I'll kind of open it up to you in a second, but my findings were, if we're talking about solely recoil control and performance, it is putting that stock in your shoulder and rolling your shoulder forward is better, period. Like it just, both of us perform better. It is better. That's not a lie. Absolutely. Don't take our word for it. Get your rifle, go out and shoot. Like most indoor ranges have 25. Go take your rifle and do a bill drill at 25. Try and max your splits out. Keep them below 0.25. If you are struggling to keep an A zone, like generally A zone hits, you know, if you throw a Charlie, it's not the end of the world. But you will find you have to roll that shoulder forward in order to attain those. Our groups opened up significantly when we didn't do that. Now, well, let's just talk about that actually. Go ahead and share your sentiment on the bill drill.
Yeah, I mean, you said the same thing I was kind of already thinking about is like when somebody comes out and says, hey, this new way of like gripping a rifle is like the best way, or maybe they say it sucks. It's like, I mean, I can kind of have my first impressions about it, but I want to go try it. And that's really all we did here today. It's like, well, let's see, let's test the theory. Is this better or is this better? And then, I mean, I think you guys have probably seen the results by now, but you just get out there and try it. It's not a big deal.
It lays out pros and cons for you.
Yeah.
Like it literally, that's what all of this should be, is just laying out pros and cons. And I think that was the original intent behind Lucas's video. I don't think it was to trigger everybody. I think it was literally just like, hey, you see this done a lot by like CQB instructors, but when it comes to shooting these drills, it can compromise your recoil control, right? So, you know, whatever.
You get out there and test it, you're gonna learn a lot more than somebody just telling you on the internet.
One way or the other.
Go do it.
Yeah, one way or the other.
See what you think.
Yeah, even though we ended up siding with like, yeah, that's better recoil control, you know, I would still want to test it and see like, well, how much better is it, right? Is it okay to accept this type of thing? We can get into some of like the CQB sides of it. I've said this before. I don't think this is a bad way to hold your rifle. Look, there's been dudes that will compromise their grip and like because they're tired, they'll roll their elbow in and like sit it on their armor because they're just sitting there pulling security and it gets exhausting to hold your rifle out like this. I've done this. I've done this before where I'm like sitting somewhere and I'm watching and you get tired, you know, 5-10 minutes roll by, holding your rifle out like this gets tiring. You can tell me I need to get in the gym, I know, whatever. But the reality is like you will take alternate positions while you're not actually shooting. This though, no matter what, I don't care what you say, this is not as good of a shooting position as this. It's just not. Recoil control, everything, it's not good. Even moving through buildings, it's not as good. So the reason that you see people in CQB doing this, and there's plenty of people that articulated this, provided the context, and were right. The reason that you see people doing this, it gives you a better field of view to watch people's hands when you're moving into areas. You don't have a rifle blocking your field of view by being raised up. Also, there's no reason to be craning your shoulder when you're not actually shooting. So being relaxed and being able to look around and react to things, then at the end of the day, guys, the rifle has to go from here to here. And in the amount of time that it takes you to raise that rifle up to here, flip your safety and put your finger on the trigger, guess what you can do easily? Roll your shoulder forward and get really good recoil control, right? Yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I mean, like I was thinking earlier, it's like, can you shoot from here? Yes, you can. Should you? I don't know. Maybe. It depends.
Yeah.
But if I have to shoot from here, if that's just kind of where it lands, I would like to try to walk myself in to a tighter position. It's really not that big of a deal.
Why would you want less recoil control in a gunfight?
Right, exactly.
Unless its speed is of the essence, and like we've said this before with shooting from retention, this is absolutely a position, and like someone's right up on top of me, like I'm not gonna wait the time that it takes to drive the rifle out, roll my shoulder forward, get in position. If someone's right there and I just orientate to them, there is a certain distance where this is acceptable for me to engage someone. 5 yards and in, I'm probably gonna get hits on that person from here. But I'm not just gonna sit here shooting like this. I'm probably gonna shoot and either like back off so I get distance. I'm gonna work into a good shooting position. All of this was just about people see people doing this a lot and they mistake it for a really solid, good shooting position. And it's not. Like objectively, it's not. Can you shoot from there?
Right.
Sure. Are you gonna be slower and have less recoil control? Yeah, I mean, it seems like it.
It's the same things on the handgun. We teach this in our handgun classes. It's, can I shoot from here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, should I? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Is he on top of you?
Do I want to work this way out to a two-handed position? Obviously, I'm holding this, but
Yeah.
yes, ideally, of course, especially with a pistol. So it's just, I really don't think it's something to get wrapped around the axle about. It's just, I get it. I've cleared rooms and stuff. It gets tiring. I know, workout, whatever. Yeah, you're going to get lazy. It's going to happen. That's life, even in situations like this. It's, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I would almost say it's better to save the energy. Like I would tell people,
Yeah,
if I saw someone rolling around like this everywhere, I'd be like, dude, chill.
Yeah.
There's no threat right now. 99% of the time you're clearing a room, there's no threat. So like, why are you doing this, right? It's like when you see people on ruck marches in movies and they're like moving through the woods like this and you're like, that's not, no, like that's not how you move, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
So you have to have that context behind it. Yeah, I mean, this is hopefully providing people with a little bit of context, It's simple. It's really, again, it's not anything for anyone to lose their mind about. It's just, if you don't believe us, go shoot, go do it. Like I seriously mean that. I would love for someone to prove us wrong and go do this drill. I've just found in the 2 or 3 times that we did the bill drill at this distance, we were easily holding way better groups by rolling forward and controlling the rifle, But there's a little bit of bias in that. That's how we shoot. That is how I shoot. I started kind of getting in the habit, but like this is still how I'm used to shooting a rifle. So maybe there's somebody out there that's been doing this all day and is really, really good at it. I would love for the GBRS, I'm serious, I don't mean this I'm not saying this in like a negative way. I would love for GBRS, because I watched their YouTube video on this positioning. I would love for them to put out a YouTube video proving this wrong. I really would. Like
honestly, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like if one of those dudes could just do, again, 25-yard bill drill in a second and a half from this.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah. I would be like, hey dude, more power to
awesome.
you.
Yeah,
you're
perfect.
jacked, you're huge, you can get away with it. I would be humbled by that. I just think it's gonna be a lot harder than people, and that's coming from my 12 years of experience of shooting. And this was like 2 months, 3 months ago, the first time I did this drill, and I was extremely humbled by it. I was like, I thought I was a good rifle shooter. I thought I could control recoil very well. And I think a similar kind of realization for you where you were like, oh, whoa, I've never tried to split the gun that fast. I'm capable of it, but I'd never really tried it.
At that range,
yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising how well you can actually do with, good fundamentals at the 25-yard bill drill.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I don't think it's quite as hard as it looks or seems, but yeah.
It just depends.
It's a fun drill.
Yeah, it's good. If you don't have good fundamentals of recoil control, that shit'll move around. It will. If you don't have, if it's not dialed in, or if you're trying to do it, like it will move around on you quite a bit, So, but yeah, I mean, it's nothing that's not doable, and you should push it out to like 40 yards. That's the next iteration to see how fast you can go. But I did not know. I would not have guessed that I could split my rifle at 1.8 and hold A zone hits on an IPSC target at 25 meters.
Yep.
I wouldn't have guessed it. So, cool. That's all I have. I think that sums it up.
I think so.
Cool.
Is in Lucas's video, he basically references that there are some folks that are teaching CQB and showcasing this kind of positioning. And a lot of people were like, what, no, who, and I just wanted to, this video, if you get a chance, by GBRS Group, is called High Ready versus Low Ready. I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time with it, but to me, there is a little bit of context lacking in this video. And this is the position that he's showing, and he's basically saying that it allows you to get a heads-up orientation while you're behind your rifle. Now, let me say this first. I am by no means a CQB expert. I know what I know based off of the folks that have taught me and taught me. I, unlike this gentleman on the screen, have not done CQB in real life, right? But that being said, I can still ask some questions. So as an instructor, him being the instructor as a student, I would ask, I've always been taught not to hunt through my optic period until there's a threat and I need to engage it. In this video, that's what's confusing to me, right? Is it's not even the stock positioning, the position, all of that stuff. It's, are you saying to hunt through your optic because you have a tall riser and that makes that okay? Now, in my opinion, raising the rifle up that high is going to cut off some of the information that you're gonna have, whether someone's, hands and all that stuff. And for civilians and law enforcement, that's extraordinarily important because it's the burden of proof. We don't get hostile intent and hostile act as civilians or law enforcement. Military does. So I want to be able to see people's hands and know exactly what they have in their hands, so that I can snap to it. Now, there's a whole discussion about speed and all that stuff behind that. But anyway, that would be what I would, about this video that was a little bit unclear to me, that I would ask for context. Now, the point is, there's certain things that are lacking context. And whenever people put videos out, there's always going to be a context that's lacking, because it's really hard to think of every single context that there could possibly be, right? So this is the first little segment I wanted to look at. When Lucas made the statement of, there are some people teaching this as a shooting position, here you go. Here's the proof. There are people that are showing this as an actual shooting position, right? Now, in the video, I don't see it. There's no differentiation between CQB versus, long distance shooting and da-da-da-da. It's literally just talks about heads up posture. One of the statements is, there is no low ready, there is no high ready, there's just ready. Which again, to me, makes me ask a bunch of questions. Not saying it's wrong, it just starts to make me think like, well, so does that mean I always just keep the gun up? Whatever. What's funny about this is, lots of times when these videos get put out, there's no burden of proof or demand, because this gentleman has an amazing background and has done a lot of cool stuff. But the burden of proof is still there. I'm sorry, it is. It should be. It should be applied evenly. However, when somebody else puts out a video of them shooting and demonstrating exactly what they're talking about, there's an uproar of context and proof and all that stuff. So I think there's a little bit of a double standard there, but that's okay. All right. So that's the first portion I just wanted to show you guys. If you get a chance, go check this video out. GBRS group, high ready versus low ready. It's his philosophy on high readies versus low readies. I'll just say it, I disagree with it. But if there was more context provided, and maybe there's something I'm lacking understanding of, or I don't know. But I think it's a little bit gimmicky, just to be honest. Nothing personal. Like I said, he has an awesome ass background, better than I did more than I did. But still, the burden of proof is there.